go ahead and sow your 377 seed. That's the angel seed, 377. So you can go ahead and sow your seed. And of course, when you do that 377 seed, many benefits you'll get that'll give you access to 2 virtual presbytery rooms. Those rooms are open right now. You'll get into the boiler room. That's when you're sowing 300 or more. You get access there. There's a prophet there waiting to minister the word of the Lord to you right now. And you'll get to ask a question in that room. Now, the other room will have 2 prophets there. And so you don't want to miss that opportunity. Of course, you're going to get a DVD of the teaching today. And as you sow the seed, the prophets will begin to minister the word of the Lord. 2 prophets will minister to you when you sow that $377 seed right here from the sacred desk. You also get the DVD. The DVD is going to have your name on it. The master prophet will be the first prophetic voice that you hear. 15 other prophets will come right behind him. And guess what? We're not going to leave out the oil. You're going to get the oil as well. So go ahead and call right now, 212-316-2177.
In the chat room.
Okay, so I've been informed that the link is in the chat room. So you can go ahead and click on that. That's going to take you to chapter 4. Now, once you get into chapter 4, because we're not really at the top of that chapter. We were teaching from this on Sunday as well. So all you have to do is begin to scroll down in the link. And once you see principle number 31 on your page, it is about 2 paragraphs after that. And the heading says, Inquire of the Lord. And I think we just completed, we're in what, the 2nd paragraph there?
Yes, we are on the 2nd page, page 59.
Okay.
And we're in the first full paragraph on page 59.
Okay, so go ahead and continue reading.
He was multifaceted, multi-talented. You can't be a good prophet without imagination. Imagination is creation. You can't manifest without imagination. So whenever God anoints a man or a woman, he gives them the ability to imagine the possibilities of what can be.
Wow. Now, you know, you can't be a good prophet without imagination. That got my attention.
Wow.
And, you know, I checked on something. I looked up the definition of imagination. And it says, also called the faculty of imagining. It is the ability of forming mental images, sensations, and concepts in a moment when they are not perceived through sight, hearing, or other senses. And I just thought that was powerful. You know, it's visualizing inside of your head something that you don't even see on the outside, that you can't sense, that you can't touch in any way. The whole fullness of it is right in your mind. And can I tell you, that's really the beginning of creation. Your imagination is creation. Any other prophets want to comment on that?
You know, Prophetess Cynthia, when I see the word imagination, I see mental images. And so you cannot be a prophet without seeing mental images. And so imagination, that's your creation. So, and also, when you look at imagination also, you see the word magi, the magi. And we see that's all a part of imagination. The magic of the images that you are seeing that is creating and forming.
Wow, I like that. You know, let's type in the chat room. I put it in there already. Put imagination and then put a colon. I see mental images. Because that's where it is. Your imagination, it's in mind, it's in consciousness. That's where the creation is. You know, when I began to go after the houses, and, you know, the prophets started prophesying and telling me they saw a house, I began to see the vision that they saw. Where did I see it? Not with my eyes. I saw it in my mind, in my consciousness. And I began to imagine the type of house, because they didn't say the type. I had to put that in myself, in my imagination. I had to take what the prophets gave me and start to build upon it, and start to vision, and start to make it mine, and start to see what I wanted the house to look like. How many rooms I wanted the house to have. How many bathrooms I wanted to have. So you see how the prophet creates and puts it out there, but then I had to take it also as a prophet, and I added more. Just like when a woman is pregnant. It starts as something small, but something is constantly adding and growing and developing on the inside. So you have to take something almost like in seed form. You got to play with it and start developing it. And that's what your imagination is mental images. You start to see, you hear house. Well, what color is the house? How many rooms? How big is the house? What's the driveway like? What's the yard like? And you know what? It's not in vision, in sight. You're going in here in your imagination, and you're figuring it out, and you're painting that picture for yourself. Prophetess K, what do you want to say?
Yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly with that, Prophetess Cynthia, because I've had that experience over and over again. But here recently, I went to a particular dealership, and my eyes feasted upon a particular vehicle, and I have just been replaying that image in my mind
Yes.
over and over and over. And as she said, when I added to it, I saw myself riding in the back of the car. I saw someone driving me in the car. I took that little seed and I started to expound upon that seed for what I see for myself, and that is permissible. That's what that's okay to do, because imagination is creation. You're constantly creating. We're like God. God created. That's what we're doing. We're creating what we want to see. We're creating where we want to live. I think that's wonderful, Prophetess Cynthia, that you put meat on the bones.
Yes, yes.
The prophet gave you the bones, which was house, but you came behind and you put meat. You say, okay, this is how many bedrooms. This is how many bathrooms. This is the how many garages. This is this and this is that. You put meat on the bone so that thing can rise up and live.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And let the prophet in you begin to, through your imagination, start to create the things that you want. Sometimes you don't have what you want because you haven't taken the time to put the detail in. You haven't taken the time. That's, that requires really meditation. You have to think about it and play with that thing. It's not just a one word thing and say, okay, that's what I'm going to have. You got to play with that in your mind, and notice in your imagination, you start to paint pictures for yourself and images for yourself in your mind. And I can tell you that is the creative process. I think about the studio because I'm looking here now. Well, when I first saw the studio that we're streaming from, it didn't look like it looks now. It looked like any other basement, with dry walls, and I think there was some shelves in there. And, the Master Prophet began to give us a tour and said, there's going to be a studio here, and there's going to be offices over here. And I was like, okay, yeah. We started looking with him. But it was not there in the natural yet. He had all that in his mind and his imagination and began to bring it forth. And we're sitting in that studio right now, live streaming. And many of you sowed the seed so this studio could happen. And we're looking outside the doors here and there's offices, but that's not how it started. It started in the imagination of just something that the Master Prophet had to play with and build upon it. That's how powerful your imagination is. Sometimes you just have to, that's your building blocks right there, your mind, your imagination. You have to make it happen, but you got to make it happen in your mind and consciousness. Well, Prophetess Mother Mary Jordan, what do you want to say about the imagination?
Yes, I'm Prophetess Cynthia. Imagination, it begins in your mind, but then you put it in material form. So that's why they say imagination is creation. Either visualization, we talk about visualization, those two can go together. You have to visualize what you want. You have to see. When talking about vision, we talking about seeing.
Yes.
But you don't see it with the natural eyes all the time. You see it first with the mind eyes. And then it comes to form to the natural eyes.
Yes.
So imagination, that's why if you have to go into like meditation, I see meditation and imagination coming along about the same thing, hand in hand. Because when you go into meditation, you don't go into meditation looking at nothing negative. Everything you meditate on is good. It's all good. It's all good. So when you imagine something, you say, oh, I can't imagine that happening. You don't say that, no. You don't, You go into the imagination that you want to see come into form, material form. See, a lot of people, they're kind of afraid to talk about material when they get saved. They'll, oh, you're just materialism. Well, there wasn't God materialism because he made the world. Girl was not form and void. So he was materialist. He made all this stuff. But they're afraid to talk about material. When you imagine it, then you put it into materialism.
You said two things that was so awesome, but I want to piggyback on the last one that you said. Before there was the material girl, there was the material God.
That's right.
Wow.
Cindy Lauper kind of make it more popular by saying you're the material girl, But the material God says, "Let us make man." He gives us the stars. He gives us everything. All that we enjoy in life, he gave it to us. And you said something about you cannot go into meditation on negatives. That's why the scripture brings us back home and tells us, hey, look, whatsoever things are honest, just, lovely, good report, there will be any virtue, there will be any praise. Think on these things. Let that be the foundation of your imagination, good thoughts that will bring you a healthy lifestyle. And just let it breathe out of you naturally like the birth of life. Because if you can breathe it, you cannot create from the physical body. That's the beautiful thing about imagination. It is not conducted in the